a shopping agreement would actually always benefit us more than it actually would the producer because of the reversion of those rights and because at the end of the term, you are always free and clear to go off and do whatever you want. But interestingly, riffing off of what you were saying about everybody's different experiences, there's a viewer of ours, Jacob, who actually wrote a comment 2 weeks ago. I'm going to read it because it's a different experience than ours, and I think it's astute. So Jacob says, always love the videos. Thanks you, Jacob. You can be paid for shopping agreements too, at least in TV. Just got paid for a couple this last year. But yes, the rest is true. Unlike an option, there's less formal details about future payments and the right to negotiate your own separate fee with the distributor on good faith. Often too, as with us, you can hold the right to approve all attachments, again with good faith. Though this may be true with options as well, sometimes not sure, we were also able to control the rights to all materials developed with them, but they were entitled to their producing fee for 1 year, interestingly enough, if the agreement ended. And we sell the project to a distributor they contacted within the terms of the agreement. Right. Basically, we can't wait out the agreement and then sell the project to someone they already talked to right away, which I guess you would probably only do if you were unhappy with the producers. So, first comment, thank you so much, Jacob, for all of that information. I think it's very valuable. Yeah. Here's our experience with shopping agreements and with options and with not having an agreement in paper at all. So we actually have never been offered to be paid on a shopping agreement, partly because we almost never do them.
It's interesting, isn't it? We're only at the moment, I think for the first time in our now almost 9-year career, talking about doing a shopping agreement with someone.
Correct. It is. We've done one once, and it was only the week before we sold the script.
Yes.
And the reason that was done was actually the producer wanted to make sure that he had some security.
Right. Yes.
The good part was exactly what you said in your comment. We were then able to ensure that if the script didn't sell when it was going out the following week, all development materials would revert back to us. And that is a huge benefit of a shopping agreement. It should be in every shopping agreement. If you are trying to debate between an option or shopping agreement, that is one of your huge benefits, is that if you develop under a shopping agreement, your contract should state that you own all of those development materials.
So let's just put that in layman's terms. You have written a script. Producer has given you feedback on that script. That, if it's unclear, that producer at some point might be able to say, well, a bunch of the story ideas are mine, and cause some legal trouble. But if you have it very clearly stated in a shopping agreement document like this, you can say, well, any development materials actually all become ours regardless of what happens.
Yes. Now, here's, I guess, and then again, going back to what I was saying at the beginning, this is just our personal experience. If you are working with a producer that is of a certain caliber, I don't believe, well, one, a shopping agreement, and our lawyer told us this actually not that long ago, a shopping agreement would actually always benefit us more than it actually would the producer because of the reversion of those rights and because at the end of the term, you are always free and clear to go off and do whatever you want. However, bringing up with a big-time producer, hey, before we get started, we should really get our lawyers involved and start negotiating a shopping agreement, isn't really classy, I guess. In a sense, it's like, you either trust this producer to be the guy or the girl who is going to champion your movie and who you are going to ride it out long term. And if it doesn't work, you trust that they're big enough and cool enough to go with God. I wish you the best. We tried, it didn't work. I hope it succeeds one day. And so when we've developed material with A-list producers, we generally haven't had any. It's literally a handshake agreement. It's a verbal agreement. And here's why it's never worried me. Number one, these people have a reputation that they need to uphold.
Yes.
And people talk in this business. And as producers start to screw people over, as some have in this town, guess what? You know who those people are, and you don't want to work with them.
And I'll add this too, that when you are repped at, a half decent place, those reps aren't going to be sending other clients' scripts to these people. We have an agent who really dislikes a certain producer, and he is always saying, "Don't go to him. Don't go to him. Don't go to him. He's not good. He's not good."
Yeah. And it, as we've said so many times, this is a relationship business.
Absolutely.
And so those relationships at that high level are really important. Your producer needs your agent relationships. They need your manager relationships. And quite frankly, they need your relationship.
Yeah.
You're a commodity, and you have to remember that you bring value. You bring the ideas. They don't have anything to sell if writers don't let them sell their ideas.
Absolutely.
So when you go into those relationships, you go, this is a relationship I want to have long term. I'm working on in good faith. And that, hopefully, if for some reason this didn't all work out, the relationship is going to be more important than the individual project.
Yes.
And then, because you don't have anything as like an option agreement, which is much more binding, you're then able to go out and sell for as much money as you can negotiate for.
Absolutely.
Now, on a smaller producer level, and we're experiencing this right now on the flip side of the coin, where we actually are doing a shopping agreement with a writer, where we will have a shopping agreement with our co-producer. And I think that in this situation, and it's interesting because I probably wouldn't have immediately done the shopping agreement. But when I take a step back and I look at it, I go, if, for example, I'll just pick a giant producer out of the hat of producers. If
Jerry Bruckheimer
goes to Paramount and says, "I've got this script that I'm producing, and and do you want to buy it from me?" Paramount's not going to question whether he really has the right to shop that script. It's fucking Jerry Bruckheimer.
Yeah.
Of course he has the right to shop that script. And if the Paramount wants to buy it, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But if you're producer John Doe and nobody knows who you are, you may, if you're Jake Thornton, Jake and Juliet, and you're going into Paramount and you're saying, "Hey, I've got this script and I'm trying to sell this." Well, you probably will need a document of some kind to say, "Yes, I do have the legal authority to do so."
Yeah.
We entered into a shopping agreement on a book where we have a shopping agreement with an author. And because we're not big-time producers, we wanted that exclusive shopping agreement so that we could then approach other producers and other talent and say, we legitimately have the right to sell this book. No one's going to just trust us.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
So, and then of course, as far as getting paid, it was interesting with this book. Originally, the agent for this author wanted it to be a paid shopping agreement. We said no. When we talked to our lawyer and when we talked to our manager, they basically said shopping agreements should never be paid. That's not the way they're done. Options are where you get paid. Is it theoretically possible? Could you pay someone for a shopping agreement, or could you get paid?
You can negotiate anything.
You can negotiate anything. But generally speaking, because of the nature of the agreement, because you own everything at the end, all the development materials, because of what it is, you don't. It's a handshake agreement with a piece of paper.
Sure.
But congratulations, Jacob, on getting paid for multiple shopping agreements. That's
Jacob's got some
awesome.
exciting things going on at the moment, isn't
I
it?
wish that we were getting paid on shopping agreements, but that's just not where we are at the moment. Options, on the other hand, people get paid for all the time, and they range all the way up from small producer to full studio option. The Princess started as an option.
It did.
It was a very large payment of an option.
It was a big option.
But interestingly enough, Disney, who owns Fox, who is the business affairs for Fox, said when it comes to a spec screenplay, we only do options.
Yeah.
We had never heard of that before. We had never, that was actually our very first option in our career.
It was.
When we sold things to Sony, they were never options. They were always purchases. Absolutely. But they said no on this type of project.
Well, again, it was a script, wasn't it? Versus a pitch, I suppose. But can you get an option on you can't get an option on that.
No, but like Winter's Night wasn't an option.
No, I know, of course. Yeah. But it was because it was a spec, it was a script. I'm saying. But it could have been an option. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Is The Princess was an option, Winter's Night was his full purchase.
Sure.
The Princess, though, when they, we tried to get that to be a full purchase, and they basically were like,
that's not what we do. We don't do that shit here.
And their basic way, I mean, we were able to negotiate to basically make us whole through the course of all the steps that are required. A lot of times when you sell a script, you have the sale price, but then you should be working in at least one step. And a step, for anyone who doesn't know, means a rewrite or a polish.
Yeah.
Or sometimes maybe a treatment, but most of the time it's a rewrite or a polish. And every one of our deals, unfortunately, have been one-step deals. The Guild has been trying for years to get 2 steps included, but they're usually 1 steps. If you sell a spec, your step would be a rewrite. If you sell a pitch, your step is the first draft.
Yeah.
And so there's so many reasons you want that step. And we may have gone over this before, but the biggest reason you want that step is because that's what makes it a Guild project.
That's right.
If you sell, otherwise it's just a copyright transfer.
Right.
It's literally you are just selling your copyright to the studio. Without the employment side of that step, there is no WGA aspect to that sale. There's no health insurance or pension or contributions of any kind. Doesn't apply to your overall accumulation for health insurance. The sale, which is I personally think ridiculous, but that's the way it goes. So anyway, long way around of just saying Jacob has had a different experience than us. I think that's great. We have a friend. So here's another example of that. We have a friend who negotiated a bonus that was unheard of for the current market. And we have been told by our reps, oh, that's impossible. No one will ever go for it. And then his reps were able to negotiate for it.
Yeah.
And the type of bonus was a production bonus versus a credit bonus.
Yes.
When you sell a screenplay, for anyone who doesn't know, usually the bulk of your earnings, the biggest part of your contract will come from your bonus at the end, meaning the movie has all been made. And for most writers, that bonus will be tied to your credit. So
that being what the names are on the screen.
Correct.
Written by, screenplay by,
correct.
Story by, it's tied to those.
So credits, and that's a whole, we could do an hour on credit.
There's a lot of resources out there too.
The WGA decides who gets what credit, and then your contract determines how much money you get for whatever credit you end up getting. But in this case, our friend was able to negotiate his bonus just based on production. So meaning that on first day of principal photography, when they went in to shoot the movie, he got his full bonus. Now, we had, in our situation on The Princess, that was the purchase date. So in a way, we got a bonus for that as well, because we were already paid for our option and our step.
Yeah.
And then the first day of principal photography triggered the purchase of our option.
Yeah.
So we got a nice bonus for that. And then we had our credit bonus.
Right.
But anyway, again, just an example of how everybody's experiences are different.
It can change. That's almost beautifully at 20 minutes exactly on the nose there, Ben.
There you go. Experiences are different. So